And so there's quite a contingent of University of Tokyo players on this squad, and you can tell they've got some chemistry.
At the face-off X, the US U19 team sending Connor Calderon, the current freshman at the University of Maryland, and he wins the opening face-off. Team USA goes to work on offense to open things up. And right on cue, here is Brennan O'Neill getting his first touch. Team USA in the all-white uniforms with the gray helmets. Japan in the black shorts and the red jerseys and helmets. Here's O'Neill from the wing. Such a dangerous player, still a high school senior out on Long Island, playing for St. Anthony's. He dodges and scores. Picking up where he left off yesterday, O'Neill makes it 1-0.
That's a goal for Team USA.
And O'Neill makes it look easy. First possession, getting a step, again showing you he's got that speed too. Speed, size, both hands. He is the complete player. He's got all the tools necessary. And just a quick finish down low, opposite side of the cage. And a quick 1-0 lead for Team USA.
Just an unbelievable player Brennan O'Neill has been, even since he was in middle school. He led all of Long Island in points when he was in 8th grade. He was playing varsity lacrosse, and he was doing that in a hotbed like Long Island.
And you see that, you know, but once a decade or so, a player that has that type of talent and the physicality at such a young age to be able to perform at that level. So yeah, he's been doing it a while. It's crazy to think that he has another year of high school ahead of him before we get to see him in the collegiate ranks.
Good luck to all the defenders out on Long Island who have to go up against Brennan O'Neill this season. Here's our first look at Patrick Cavanaugh, younger brother of Matt, who we had a chance to see yesterday. We'll see later on today with the U.S. men's national team in their blue-white scrimmage. Ball ends up in the stick of Grant Mitchell. His shot wide. And it's Cole Kirst to trigger things here from the end line. Kirst, a sophomore at Lehigh. Backs down his man, and what a pretty finish. A low-high spot there in the corner for Cole Kirst, 2-zip.
A sneaky heater here from
Cole
Cole
for Team
Kirst.
USA by number 2.
Dodging
Cole
from X. Another one of those swing players for Team USA that can play midfield or attack depending on the matchup. You see it off the restart. Starts with the stick in his right hand, comes off pick to his left. The spin to the outside, and then that really quick release. Wow. Nice shot there for Kirst.
Almost looked like he kind of guided it there to the top corner. Pretty finish. A face-off win here for Japan, and they'll get their first offensive possession. Yuku Nasu brings it into the offensive area.
Nick Myers called Cole Kirst kind of an X factor in this U.S. group. Says he likes his fire. Really passionate player. He's got potentially 2 years of college experience. If he makes it all the way to Ireland, he would be the most seasoned player on the U.S. squad.
Yeah, he was the only guy with collegiate experience entering this U19 process, as he had finished up his freshman season at Lehigh before the full tryout. As Japan settles things down. Coach Kevin Cassis at Lehigh echoed what Nick Myers was telling us about Kirst this week in terms of that he brings the same type of thing to that Mountain Hawks team as well. Getting free in the middle. Good look here for Japan, and they cash in. Right there on the wing, it's Kazuki Obana cutting this lead in half.
It's a goal for Team
Japan.
Japan.
Some nice offense here for Team Japan.
Obana,
you get a look at Yuya Okumura getting inside, drawing the double there, kicking it back out to Obana. And you see them regrouping after the play. One of the things you'll notice about the Japanese offense is, you think of communication as being a defensive part of the game in lacrosse, but on offense, they're always talking to each other. It's really quite something to behold.
Good face-off win here for Jake Nasso, the current teammate of Brendan O'Neill at St. Anthony's. He's headed to Virginia next year. Seeing Calderon, Nassau, likely see Alex Stathakis as well at the face-off X. 3 face-off guys battling for 2 spots that they'll take to the World Championships in Ireland. Those cuts not expected to come after this weekend. Those are things that Coach Myers wants to see how the high school and college seasons play out here in the spring before ultimately making that decision. Here's Connor Mitchell down the alley. He had a nice game with a hat trick yesterday.
Pretty filthy split dodge for Connor Mitchell there. Started with the ball in the stick in his left hand, and he split to his right. He's actually a lefty, but both Mitchell twins really quite ambidextrous in the sense that they can go left or right.
You'd like to think that the way in which they carry the ball would tell you who it is for the twins, but it doesn't. It doesn't help you at all. Here's O'Neill. Dodges. That one kicked away by Suzuki. Nice stop on the tough angle. This was one of the impressive parts about what Japan did against the U.S. men's national team here yesterday. Was they were kind of unfazed by all the pressure, but Cavanaugh able to cause a turnover and get possession back here for the U19 squad.
Much like his brothers, an underrated rider is Pat Cavanaugh. We saw some hustle out of him yesterday in terms of the ground balls, but he can redefend quite well. He had 2 different players there, the goalie and the defender on the wing that he was charged with marking. Good job by him there to pin him in the corner.
This is Cole Herbert. Sends it behind to Cavanaugh. Defended nicely there as it's swung out to the wing to O'Neill. He's got a short stick matchup. One-handed flip. Mitchell falling down. Suzuki with the stop. Now we see if the Japanese can clear. Yuta Tanashima, long pole, brings it across midfield. He's pressured by Cole Herbert, offensive midfielder for this U.S. team, but Coach Myers wants these guys to be able to play 2 ways as much as possible, and he was tested there. Now he'll run off for a substitution.
Yeah, and check out that ride for Team USA. They were denying the adjacent pass basically anywhere it was, so the long pole had to bring it all the way down, come around the cage, and really that's like a possession shot, right? Just get it out of bounds, have the back up, and get your offense set. But Team USA very much pressuring out on these Japanese ball handlers.
Tomoki Umehara bounce shot, and that one saved. Our first look at Jared Paquette in goal for the U.S. U19 team, and he eats up his first save. Alex Slusher quickly the other way. Freshman at Princeton, Slusher hailing from Portland, Oregon.
That's what a good ride can do for you, right? You might not get the turnover, but you have a tired offense then at the other end, and one that might be pressing a little bit. And for Japan, that's a long-range shot there that Paquette can eat up all day. So that was a team defensive stop there that started with the front group.
Slusher gets the hands free, shoots wide. And it ends up in the side of the cage for Suzuki, and he starts the clear. Coach Myers does have to be happy with the effort we've seen in the ride so far this morning. These guys have not made it easy on Japan.
This is also a Japanese team that played a scrimmage Friday night. Played 2 games yesterday.
Yep.
After that grueling game against the U.S. senior team. They wound up scrimmaging team premiere.
Got a turnover. Cavanaugh to Slusher. Tic-tac-toe. That was beautiful. 3-1, Team USA.
That's a goal for Team USA by number 25, Alex Slusher.
Yeah, and this is another great job by the Ride, creating some offense there, and good heads-up play by Cavanaugh to find himself down in the crease and kick it back over to Slusher, and the quick finish. Team USA takes a 3-1 lead.
Alex Slusher was also a standout basketball player in high school, kind of like an alley-oop from Cavanaugh. He slammed that one home.
It looks like Japan wants to regroup, see what they can do to counteract this U.S. Ride. So clearly taken aback a little bit by the pressure they're seeing from the U.S. front.
We mentioned Alex Slusher being from Oregon. Let's take a look at this geographic diversity on this team again. We mentioned it yesterday for this U.S. U19 team. Got guys from all over. We haven't seen Graham Bundy yet today, but he comes from Missouri. Jake Caputo is actually out this weekend with an injury. He comes from North Carolina. A really good mix of states represented on this U.S. Under-19 team.
And it's not like the coaching staff sat down with a map and said, oh, like a heat map, and this is where we want to have our representation. Certainly there's a healthy dose of Long Island, New Jersey, Baltimore on this squad, and that's to be expected. But this is a natural byproduct of the sport's growth, is that you're seeing elite players coming from all corners of the country.
And then we had a chance to see the team premier squad that this U.S. U19 team played yesterday. Had a good smattering of really talented players from here in Texas as well. So it's good to see the sport continuing to grow in other places, including here in Texas, where U.S. Lacrosse brought this spring premiere for the first time, and it was been a roaring success so far, especially when we saw the attendance yesterday.
Yeah, and it's a great opportunity for the local lacrosse community here in Texas to not only see the sport's best, but be trained by them. There was a clinic yesterday, well attended, U.S. senior team clinic of about 150 kids that they were able to interact with. Coach John Danowski, he kind of held court with a bunch of local coaches, and anyone here that's a college coach. You know, they had a little bit of a round table to talk coaching philosophies, and sharing that knowledge is definitely part of the mission of U.S. Lacrosse.
It's a face-off win for Jake Nasso, and the U.S. offense goes right back to work with Brennan O'Neill. Had a chance to listen into Coach John Danowski talking to this under-19 team yesterday as a no-look pass from Cole Herbert. Just a little off there for Michael Alexander. And it's a turnover. But you could tell every one of the eyes and ears of this U.S. Under-19 team was focused on Coach Danowski when he was addressing them yesterday.
And there have been a few of those opportunities this weekend, which has been really nice to see. They've kind of happened organically. It's not like there was some agenda or itinerary that had that happen, but so gracious is Coach Danowski and the rest of his staff there. Joe Amplo, Seth Tierney, Charlie Toomey. These are some of the most respected minds in our game. And the fact that they're willing to take the time with a lot of these kids, some of whom are still in high school, to give them advice about how they can grow within the sport. It's an invaluable experience for them.
As Japan turns it over, you look at the under-19 staff now that Nick Myers has put together. You've got 3 Division I head coaches with his brother Pat, who's back for another go, and then Andrew Stimmel, who didn't start as a head coach in Division I at the beginning of this process, but now the leader for the Golden Eagles at Marquette, entering his first season.
The successor to Joe Amplo, who we mentioned as an assistant coach on the U.S. senior team. So certainly there's a great degree of familiarity among those coaches, and it just shows you that these are the best and brightest.
This is Cole Herbert working at X. Excuse me. No, it's Lance Tillman. Suzuki came way out of the cage. As now Herbert dances top of the box. Gets free. Stopped by Suzuki. Great job to go low and keep that one out. Loose ball won by Brennan O'Neill. No look pass to Cavanaugh. Bounce shot goes. Great look from Lance Tillman. Make it 4-1 Team USA.
second consecutive goal for Team USA,
Team USA
coming
goal for
off
number
the
4,
ride.
Patrick
A
Cavanaugh,
turnover.
assisted by
Tillman
number 11,
down low to
Lance
Cavanaugh.
Tillman.
Changes planes, brings it down low. 4-1 lead now for Team USA, and it's come almost entirely off the ride. At least 3 different goals that you can attribute to that. So certainly an area emphasis for the US U19 team.
Face-off win here for Nassau. Lost it for a second, but picked up by O'Neill. Great feed to Cavanaugh, backside. Back-to-back goals for Cavanaugh and an assist for Brennan O'Neill.
Another Team USA goal for number
Once
4,
again off
Patrick
the ride.
Cavanaugh, assisted by number 34, Brennan O'Neill.
Yeah, and O'Neill commanding so much respect there down low. You think he's going to take another one of those low-angle shots. Instead, he sees Cavanaugh right in front of the goal. Nice heads-up play. Can't say too much, the complete nature of Brennan O'Neill's game. It just seems to slow down for him. Someone might be content to take a shot there, and at the last second, he sees Cavanaugh open in front, dumps it off to him, and then you get an even higher percentage shot.
And Calderon wins another face-off. Under a minute to go in this first quarter. Team USA in control here, up 5-1. It's our first look at Graham Bundy Jr. Mentioned him out of Missouri, current freshman at Georgetown. Going to be interesting to see what he does in his freshman year with the Hoyas. Coming off a great season, but needing to replace some talent there offensively.
Yeah, and Bundy's someone that can play 2 ways. You know, he's a very good defender, but also the only player in Missouri State history to amass over 400 points. So he's someone who could be on the field a lot.
Cole Kirsch using his body, shoots well high. Quick restart. Cavanaugh was looking for the hat trick. Instead, saved by Tillman, but he ran out of time. My home city, going to be a lot of fun. Get a chance to see a bunch of the guys that we'll see later on today for the men's national team in attendance as well. Good opportunity during Fan Fest, get some autographs, interact with some of the best players in the world. It's Calderon trying to track down a face-off win of his own. He's got a whistle along the end line, and I believe Team USA will get possession off of this.
And Travis, how about the performance for the U.S. attack group in that first quarter? Not only in the ride, which we talked about on a couple of different occasions, forcing turnovers in the ride, but accounting for every point that was scored. You had Cavanaugh with 2 goals, 1 assist. Brennan O'Neill, a goal and an assist. Tillman with an assist. Slusher with a goal. Cole Kirsch getting in the act with a goal. That was an impressive first quarter performance.
Yeah, Logan Santos here trying to clear it, stripped away. Unsettled situation here for Japan. And instead, they'll kind of put the brakes on it and settle things up. Shinya Tedishi settles it down as it wraps around the back to Obana and Okamura. Now Umahara. Okamura looking for some space. Working against Connor Mitchell as that backhand flip finds no one home. And a good scoop up there by Brendan Grimes, looking to go end to end. Excuse me, that was 18, Logan Santos, short stick D-midi. And he runs off to get some offensive personnel on here for Team USA. But you're right, and you've got 5 attackmen in there, and you think, okay, maybe that is one of the spots where you go from 26, when you go from 26 to 23, where you maybe leave somebody off, but it's, as you mentioned, they've all performed really well this weekend. On the run, going low, it's Cole Herbert out of the box. U.S. back on the board here to start the second.
That's a goal for Team USA, number 1, Cole Herbert.
Herbert gets a good head of steam here, starting from way outside the box, and stays on his path. No chance for the Japanese defender to bump him off of that mark. Good job to finish with the low bouncer.
Herbert also a standout wide receiver at Calvert Hall. Actually had some offers to play college football as well, but he's currently committed to North Carolina to play lacrosse. Scrum ends up in the stick of Calderon. He's had a nice little run, he and Jake Nasso so far this morning at the faceoff X.
Team USA coaching staff loves Herbert's ability just to get downhill. Down the alleys, shows he can finish there, but if not, at least he can draw a slide. And we mentioned Team Japan, that they're not sliding. That's not part of their philosophy right here. So it could certainly make you pay with the shooting as well.
Cole Kirst operating there behind the cage. Now Tillman gets his hands free, shoots high. Kirst trying to use that body. Walks all the way in, now sends behind. Tillman fakes on fakes on fakes before he puts one home. Lance
That's
Tillman's
a goal for
first
Team
goal
USA,
of the morning.
number 11, Lance Tillman.
The John Grant Jr. protege, showing a little bit of that same slickness, dinking and dunking. And he's got a great ability to finish in and around the goal.
You mentioned John Grant Jr. He played for him at Valor Christian before Junior then went on to take the assistant coaching job at Air Force. Currently a freshman at North Carolina, Lance Tillman, coming from Highlands Ranch, Colorado.
And you're seeing the diversity of skill sets that this attack group can come to bear. Ball now in the stick of Brennan O'Neill. Kirst, he loves to draw the contact around the goal line. Tillman, Cavanaugh.
That pass a little wide there of Brendan O'Neill. Turnover, and Japan will look to quickly restart and kickstart the clear. Talked about it yesterday with this Japanese squad. It's so interesting how the sport continues to develop in that country, because a lot of these players, they don't grow up playing lacrosse. They play another sport, whether it's baseball, basketball, rugby, a lot of other sports popular as people grow up. It's the university and the collegiate level when a lot of these athletes are introduced to the sport of lacrosse, and they use that athleticism to their advantage when picking up this sport. So we got a turnover. The U.S. coming the other way. Tillman off the post. It comes right out to a Japanese player who is subbing on. And so it starts the ball the other way here for Japan, and they'll settle things up in the offensive end.
Fortuitous carom there for the Japanese. Some serious heat coming from Tillman there.
But a perfect example of what I was talking about is this Japanese team, 22 of the 23 players that are playing here this weekend at the spring premiere didn't start playing until after high school. That shot taken up by Paquette again. His second save so far today.
And the Japan Lacrosse Association does such a great job identifying some of those athletes whose sports might translate well to lacrosse. What I noticed yesterday is they've gotten bigger. You know, the Japanese has always been kind of an undersized team when you've seen them in international competition. But down on the field, it looks like they've certainly focused on getting some bigger athletes, some more physical athletes, especially on the defensive side. That seems to be a point of emphasis for the Japanese group.
Pretty impressive numbers now when you look at 15,000 players playing in college or in post-collegiate leagues in Japan at the moment. And a nice takeaway here for the Japanese. Loose ball scooped up by Tanashima. It's pushed over the end line, out of bounds. The ball remained here with Japan on the whistle.
Again, the hustle on this U.S. ride. Cole Kerr selling out with the diving trail check to dislodge the ball there and almost cause a turnover.
Tillman, again, making life difficult. It's been a tough day so far for Japan, just trying to get into this settled 6-on-6 offense. Okamura. Looking for some space in this U.S. defense. Gets a step, shoots wide, but a backup there for Japan. Aoki to trigger from X. Shot from downtown. Paquette again with a save.
You know, it's pretty telling after a fairly dominant offensive performance for Team USA yesterday that when they had to choose someone to come speak to us in postgame for an interview, it was Jacob Snyder, the defenseman. And so, you know, that's a group that is actually underrated in this U.S. outfit as well.
Grant Mitchell's shot stopped. Suzuki still in there for the second quarter, and he goes low for the save. But I think you're right, and it shows you kind of the respect that, and we talked to Snyder, and he talked so much about team in every one of his answers, and that's exactly what Nick Myers is looking for with this squad, especially as they get together this weekend. Yeah,
and you want that sense of facelessness on your defensive end. You want guys who are going to defer to the team concepts, and it's Jake Snyder, Ryan Schreiber,
got a
Quentin
turnover
Matsui.
Here. Somehow Japan able to come up with that loose ball.
Cole Krause also in the mix on that defensive end for Team USA. They're very happy with the grouping that they have now.
Is a spot that the U.S. likely is going to make a cut here as they go from 26 to 23. Coach Myers and his staff are going to take 6 defensemen over to Ireland for the World Championships as Japan calls the timeout. And I think it's a good time to talk about what Team USA will have to do here in the next several months as they get ready for Ireland. To go from 26 to 23, and in talking with Nick Myers, he said, likely going to make a cut somewhere on defense. So you go from 7 defensemen down to 6. You got 3 face-off guys here this weekend. They'll only take 2 guys the face-off position. So there's a second cut to make. And then there's one other guy, whether it's midfield, attack, the short stick D-midi spot. It's one other guy somewhere that will likely be on the outside looking in.
And that likely will be the most difficult decision that they have to make, and one that they likely won't make until the very end, whether it's before or maybe right after training camp in June. Like Coach Myers had mentioned, he wants to see what plays out in the collegiate scene this spring before getting back into evaluation and the mode of making cuts.
See Nick Myers coaching him up. And what a positive thing for this team it would be to come away from the weekend with a couple of wins here after what happened at the last time they got together in Columbus, Ohio back in November. They actually did lose a game. We talked about it yesterday. Lost to the Culver Military Academy on that Saturday before bouncing back on Sunday at Ohio State to beat the Hill Academy. And it was a good test of some adversity for this squad that at that point still had some extra pieces around it, but that was kind of the beginning of the U.S. team and Nick Myers in creating the team culture he wants to take over to Ireland. And he admitted, he was like, it was good to have a little adversity because he saw how all those players responded then on Sunday.
And this coaching staff has some equity now. This isn't their first rodeo. So go back 4 years ago where this U.S. U19 team lost basically every exhibition that they played. They lost to both the Hill Academy and a Canadian team down at IMG Academy in a wild game down there that went to overtime. And that really prepared them for what they would see in British Columbia, being down a bunch of goals in that final to Canada and mounting that comeback. that adversity builds character, right? It's a cliche, but it's true to a certain extent. So these coaches actually like when their teams lose in an exhibition setting. It's strange to say, but it's a great teaching moment.
Coach Nick Myers did talk about Owen Hiltz from that Culver team and gave him high praise, comparing him to what they saw with Jeff Teat 4 years ago. We've obviously seen what Teat has done in his college career. Owen Hiltz, a player to watch for Canada, of course, in the World Championships, and then as we look ahead in the collegiate scene as well.
Yeah, and that Canadian roster was just trimmed to 32 earlier this week, so they're coming into focus as well.
Coming out of the timeout, Japan back to work offensively. Going to answer a flurry of goals here for the U.S. Been 5 unanswered goals for Team USA here. Pass across, and it came out of the stick there of Tedishi. Loose ball kicked around before it's scooped up. Jack Montfort, current freshman at Yale, short stick D midi going in transition. Herbert, bounce shot high.
You know, Travis, in case anyone wants to question the selection process either, I'm looking right now at that 2016 U19 roster. And these names will stand out to you. Mac O'Keefe, Michael Sowers, Jared Bernhardt, Dox Aitken, Pat Foley, Timmy Kelly, Dylan Johnson, Ryan Conrad. I mean, Brian Costabile. It's unending with guys that they basically made up the entire first team All-American squad last year at the collegiate ranks.
Lance Tillman dodges. Now Cavanaugh working for Max. Cavanaugh gets the goalie out of the crease. No space though. Good defense here from Japan. Do have a flag down, it looks like. A delayed penalty coming as O'Neal gets free. Top shelf. What a rip from Brennan O'Neal.
That's a Team USA goal for number 34, Brennan O'Neal.
This is an absolute cannon from Brennan O'Neal. Japan denying the adjacent pass. He says, okay, I'll just roll back, get between the hash marks to that left hand, and an absolute rip from Brennan.
The Duke commit continue to show you why he is the #1 recruit in the class of 2020. 4 goals yesterday, 2 more here in the first half so far to go along with an assist.
1 minute for unnecessary roughness.
Just continues to amaze with his skill set. And so we've got a penalty on Japan, not wiped off, so a man up opportunity here for Team USA. Man up face-off, they win it as Nasso gets it to his wings, and now a timeout for Team USA to talk things over. Man up opportunity, just under 2 minutes to go. Good chance to remind you, FanFest at LaxCon 2020. Coming up a week from yesterday. It's Saturday, January 11th at the Philadelphia Convention Center. FanFest features the latest in lacrosse gear, uniforms, and swag from 150 exhibitors, plus demos and autographs from members of Team USA and the stars of every professional lacrosse league. Bring your family, friends, and your entire team to FanFest January 11th. For more information and tickets, head on over to uslacrosse.org.
Great opportunity to interact with the best in the sport. We'll have plenty of these U.S. national team players on hand. And of course, that vendor hall is always something to behold. Every new technology in lacrosse that you could possibly imagine. Remember a couple of years ago, checking out the virtual reality goalie. And this was cool. You put on a headset and you could pretty much put yourself in the field of play virtually.
Fans here this weekend have had a great opportunity down in Texas as well. Maybe some people who haven't been able to get up to LaxCon, but U.S. Lacrosse bringing the stars of the sport down here to Texas, and really cool to watch all the kids look for selfies with the U.S. men's national team players. Not enough Sharpies to go around those U.S. locker rooms this weekend. U.S. on the man up here coming out of the timeout. Interesting to see what they do with about a minute and a half to go. Down on the doorstep, what a save! Lance Tillman denied by Suzuki.
And that was a terrific look from Brennan Grimes up top to find Tillman right there on the doorstep. Suzuki seeing it all the way.
Now Japan looking to kill off the rest of this penalty with about a minute to go in the half. And we're back to even strength as Suzuki dances away. Bounces it up to midfield, and Japan able to clear. If you're wondering, remember, no clearing clock in the international game. So the pressure more of a, let's create a turnover situation than trying to cause a failure to advance and getting possession that way. Yosuke Agasawara working here, goal line extended. Spins, dives across, what an individual effort. Agasawara gets Japan back on the board.
Check out the smile on his face
That's
as
a goal
well.
for Team
I think he might have
Japan.
surprised himself with
Number
this.
5,
The
Yuya
roll dodge
Okamura.
gets underneath and then takes it across the crease. Superman. Yosuke Agasawara taking it to the rack.
He's got some ups. Doing so with just 7 seconds to go in the half. Jake Nasso back out there for what should be the final face-off. Wins it to himself. He's tripped up. And that will bring us to the end of the half. So far, so good for the U.S. under-19 squad. We'll take an 8-2
At the
lead
half, your
into
score
the
is
break.
Team USA
Brendan
8,
O'Neill and company
Team Japan 2.
looking sharp through 30 minutes.
You're watching videos and you're trying to bring that to your own game. And the shift in mentality for a Japanese team that looks to, represent the country in 2022 is that these are your opponents. These are people to be defeated, and they're showing this weekend has been really impressive in terms of not backing down from the moment or the competition.
Held a lead into the fourth quarter against the U.S. men's national team yesterday before Will Manny helped put the U.S. in the lead and ultimately win that game. Herbert struggles with it here on the near sideline. Starting this third quarter, U.S.'s first offensive possession. Saved by Japan, great flick. But a good hustle play here by O'Neill to create a turnover. And I believe it's a loose ball push. It is. Stays with Team USA.
It's really important in the international lacrosse community as well that it not just be USA and Canada. Some of these other countries need to take it up another notch in terms of their level of competition to show the world that it's not just a two-horse race.
O'Neill dodging from the wing. Now to Patrick Cavanaugh. Has his man hung up. Bounce shot comes all the way through the crease. O'Neill there, right place, right time, keeps possession. And obviously, the more than two countries performing well as Cavanaugh stopped by Oshima, his first save. More than two countries, really important as World Lacrosse looks ahead to 2028 and its possible inclusion in the Olympics.
And that's part of the cause behind their evolution of their rules as well. The smaller sided game, a 6-on-6 or on 7-on-7, however the trials bear out. Of course, it's a numbers game. It's about having, the ability to limit the number of athletes you have to carry to the Olympics and the amount of time that a game takes up and making it optimized for their TV experience. But it could also create some parity, just in the sense that, you know, some of these countries that don't have the depth of talent as the traditional powers, their top 6, they could probably hold their own pretty well.
And Japan certainly showed us that yesterday, competing against some of the best players in the world for Team USA. Ball comes all the way back around midfield, picked up by Alex Slusher. And he runs through some traffic to get a possession. Pass is low for Mitchell. And that's over the sideline. Hiroki Kanaya able to get possession back here for Japan. Pretty cool when you look at the evolution of Japanese lacrosse. It really started about 30 years ago. Don Zimmerman taking his Hopkins teams over to Japan to help spread the sport and grow the game. And one of the people that was on some of those teams and involved was Seth Tierney, who was now coaching against Japan yesterday as a member of the U.S. men's national team staff. So we have a flag down, so delayed penalty coming here. Japan get ready to go on the man up. That shot is high. First man down situation for the U.S. team here. Day 2 of the U.S. Lacrosse Fall Classic. Excuse me, Spring Premiere.
There's a penalty on Team USA number 23, hold.
You know, you go back to what you were saying about some of these college coaches that have been responsible for spreading the game in Japan, and that clearly that mission lays out here at the U.S. national team level as well. It's not only about winning gold medals, but it's about being ambassadors for the sport globally.
A swim move, a stick deflected, race for the sideline. Really good hustle there from Patrick Hackler, the current freshman at Yale. Just beat out there on the sideline, but he made up a lot of ground really quickly. And we are back to even strength here. Job by the U.S. to kill off the penalty. Umahara.
And it's clear the tactics for this U.S. team is bring the pressure, bring the heat. It's been from the first opening whistle. They've been extending on defense all over the field.
Skip pass across is lost. Good pressure there from B.J. Burlace. Shunta Aoki now dancing with it. Still no scoring here early on in the third quarter. Tedishi dances out of some traffic. Have a whistle.
That was Ryan Schreiber playing some help defense there, looking to collapse on the Japanese midfielder. Bringing a little too much of that pressure as the flag flies.
So another man-up chance
penalty
here
on
for
Team
Japan.
USA number 26. 30-second hold.
Kanaya working from the top of the box. Umahara shoots high. Step down shot. That was a laser just wide. Quick restart here for Okamura. U.S. another flag down. Chance to go 2 men up for Japan here on the man up opportunity. Excuse me, we're back to even strength now. And another penalty coming. Umahara looking for some space. Shot saved. Good stop by Anton Minton, but another penalty coming here for the U.S. This time it's Jack Montfort, one of the 2 short stick D middies who are freshmen at Yale on this roster, who goes to the box. And a timeout for Team USA. Nick Myers wants to get this defense together, and a long defensive set for them and a couple of man downs now.
Yeah, and I think the message will be here, love the effort, love the intensity, just a little more discipline in our checking. Nick Myers often talks about playing defense with feet and fist, and certainly there's a lot of that element at play here. They have great posture on the defensive end. They've been bringing great pressure. Just been landed in the penalty box a couple of times here. So they'll look to kill off this next one in a man-down set, but really you have to be impressed with the intensity and the effort from end line to end line at all position groups today from the USA squad.
Yeah, the effort category is a check A+ for the U.S. U19 team throughout this whole weekend. You've seen great effort, and you start with the attack unit. Guys like Cavanaugh, even O'Neal, we saw early in this third quarter, creating opportunities by hustle plays, winning 50-50 ground balls. Those are actually the type of plays that Japan was winning against the U.S. men's national team yesterday. One of the reasons they were able to hold a lead so late into that game. And
probably an opportunity for this U19 coaching staff to see that and say, we're not going to let Japan just while away the game anywhere. So, you know, Japan definitely handled the pressure a little bit better yesterday than they did today. I think there's some fatigue coming in. As I mentioned earlier, they've played a lot of lacrosse. They played a game Friday night. They played 2 yesterday. So this is their fourth game
2 men
in
down
3
for 10
days,
seconds and
not to
1
mention
down
the
for an
practices
additional
in
30.
between. And so you're getting a sense of the U.S. maybe trying to capitalize on that some.
And it's a good way to replicate what you go through in a world championship environment for Japan. And you got a day or 2 off over the course of a 2-week tournament. Not a lot of time for rest with the roster of 23. Something that this U19
Correction, 1 man down for 40 seconds.
Very quickly when they get to Ireland this summer. Also has to go a lot into how they decide these rosters, especially at the midfield position. Guys who can do a lot of different things, jacks of all trades. You need a lot of those guys on your roster when you only have 23 guys over the course of a week-and-a-half tournament.
Yeah, Swiss Army knives is definitely the mode that you're in, especially in the midfield group.
Man-up opportunity here for Japan out of the timeout. Been a long, extended offensive set for Japan. Skip pass could not be completed as it was intended for Tedishi. Instead, a turnover, and U.S. able to pat themselves on the back. A nice job to kill off a couple of man downs here in that defensive set. Graham Bundy brings it over midfield. Bundy, Grant Mitchell, Cole Kirst out there, joined by Cavanaugh, Slusher, and O'Neal offensively right now for Team USA. Interesting to see Cole Kirst playing a little bit of a midfield spot in this possession.
One guy we haven't seen out of the USA this weekend is Jake Caputo, someone who played a large role in that Fall Classic a few months ago. He's injured, but he's still very much in the mix as well.
This is Kirst using his body to get a shot off. shoots wide. Caputo expected to be back in time for the spring season, entering his freshman year at Duke, having a chance to play for his dad, who's an assistant coach for the Blue Devils. O'Neal shoots wide. Quick restart here for Kirst. Hands free, and Kirst finds the back of the net. Second goal of the day for the current Lehigh sophomore.
That's a goal for Team USA, number 2, Cole Kirst.
Yeah, and it looked like Oshima got a piece of this. Kirst off the restart, getting top side, and bringing some lumber there. That again, it looked like Oshima would like to have that one back. He got a piece of it with his stick. A little too much velocity on it from Cole Kirst.
Cole Kirst coming off a Lehigh season where he put up 12 points in 17 games. Wasn't expected to play a huge role offensively as a freshman, but a bunch of injuries gave him a bunch of opportunities to start and taking advantage of that.
And Lehigh had him pegged as a midfielder, maybe someone in a second midfield group, but with all their injuries, he wound up moving down to attack and becoming a key contributor there.
And maybe just a little hint at the versatility that may earn him a spot on this U.S. roster. Cole Herbert. As Grimes, coming out of the box, sends it to the corner to Slusher. Grimes, Herbert, and Connor Mitchell, the midfielders here at the moment for Team USA. Herbert working around the 30-yard line. Dodges the alley, gets free, is saved by Oshima. Slusher. Spins. Shot another one that didn't get through. Loose ball scrum. And all 12 guys on this end of the field involved. And now it's Slusher again.
And look who emerges from that scrum is Pat Cavanaugh. Such a great ground ball presence.
Nice move by Cavanaugh. Gets into the middle and another score. That was a gorgeous dodge, a hat-trick goal for Patrick Cavanaugh.
That's a goal for Team USA, number 4, Patrick Cavanaugh.
And Cavanaugh showed you everything on this possession that he can bring to the fold as he ducks underneath, brings a stick down low, one-handed, back to two hands, finish over the top. Set that up for himself with a nice ground ball out of the scrum. Another one of those multi-faceted, multi-tool players for the U.S. attack.
The guy headed to Notre Dame. It's another face-off win for the U.S. and another offensive possession. They have been really sharp at the face-off X today, no matter who they've sent out there. I think you look at the face-off X, the interesting thing to watch is Alex Stathakis, who is coming off of shoulder surgery. We didn't see him in Columbus, so he's just been cleared to play. But I thought it was interesting in Nick Myers talking about we want to see the spring season and see maybe what he does at the college level, because that can kind of determine confidence, determine skill set, and see how all three of these guys perform in their own high school and college seasons before ultimately making a decision on the two guys you take to Ireland.
And there may be someone, not necessarily at the face-off position, but somebody who was in the player pool at some point in time that might not be here this weekend that absolutely goes off this spring. And you would be foolish not to consider that person as being part of the mix. A late addition to the last go-around was Simon Matthias.
Yeah.
After a very impressive freshman season at Penn, wound up playing an integral role in that gold medal team in British Columbia.
Nice steal away. Brennan O'Neal One-on-one with the goalie, and he cashes in. It's a trio of goals for O'Neill as well. He's got 4 points.
For Team USA, number 34.
Again,
Brennan
a little bit of
O'Neill.
everything from Brennan O'Neill. This time, again, doing it
And at
in
the end
the
of
ride,
three,
using
your
his
score
height
is Team USA
to
11,
pick off the clearing
Team
pass.
Japan.
Travis Eldridge and Matt De Silva back up here in the booth at the University of the Incarnate Word. Get ready for the start of the 4th quarter between the U.S. U19 team and Japan. Brennan O'Neill showcasing everything there to end the 3rd.
Yeah, and it's been from the opening whistle. These guys have sold out on the ride. He did it there at the midfield, picking off a pass. You know, and then he gets that head of steam going to goal. That's a lot of load to bear for that Japanese defense to try to recover. Also impressed with the finish. You know, he kind of dipped his shoulder and then finished up high. He got the goalie going low, and then O'Neill just dunked it over his shoulder. Nice finish there at the end of the 3rd quarter.
Another face-off win here for the U.S. They start with the possession. That shot eaten up. Rebound chance for Grimes. He lost it for a second, but gets it back and keeps possession for the U.S. It's Connor Mitchell. One of the 2 Mitchell twins, with Connor and Grant, current freshmen at Ohio State. Grimes has it stripped away all the way through into the crease, but Oshima able to cover it up. $15 more minutes here in the spring premiere weekend for the under-19 program. Aoki dodges behind. The U.S. team started with a practice here on Friday, had a chance to get everybody here into town, get together, get a good practice session in before the game yesterday, and then one more here in the morning before everybody goes their separate ways. Gets ready for a busy spring season for a lot of these guys, their first opportunity to play college lacrosse. And that obviously brings its own challenges and also learning experiences. That shot is snared out of the air by Anton Minton. He's one of those guys at Notre Dame now, and maybe an opportunity for him to find his way into some playing time as a freshman in the ACC.
Yeah, they're looking for a starter there in South Bend, and the freshman has been very impressive through the fall, and now heading into preseason. He'll certainly be in the mix there.
You imagine what that does for your confidence, getting a chance to play against some of the best teams in the country week in, week out, playing at Notre Dame, and the skill set you would take then over to Ireland as part of this U.S. team.
And that's a position that Nick Myers is happy to have settled. Yeah, these two stood out pretty much throughout the tryout process. For Enneman, he really won his way on the last day in that first round of tryouts, and he's been smooth sailing ever since. He's got a nice vocal presence, can command a defense, a little bit more fiery. Paquette, a little bit more laid back, so you have a nice yin and yang there. You can ride the hot hand, and in both cases, their defense loves playing in front of them. So there's great built-in chemistry there. That close defense of Snyder, Schreiber, and Matsui in front of either Paquette or Entenmann. USA is very comfortable with the personnel they have on the defensive end.
Pass sent behind, shot low to high, and goes high of the cage, backed up by Obana. Men's national team saw how important it was to have 2 really good goalies that you were comfortable with in the 2018 World Championships, when we saw Jack Kelly go down with a knee injury. John Galloway ended up having to play the whole rest of the way. As it thought U.S. had a chance to turn the ball over, but Japan able to get it back. Umahara's pass a little high. Japan goes back to retreat. Good pressure there by the short stick D. Mitty Hackler. And an over and back gives it to the U.S.
Yeah, the U.S. has brought so much pressure on both sides of the field and also in between the 30s that Japan really has not had an opportunity at all today to get comfortable handling the ball. And again, you wonder if that's somewhat of a reaction to what we saw yesterday, how much possession time Japan got out of getting clean exchanges all around the perimeter. This U.S. team doing a good job being disruptive in that passing game and not allowing Japan to really get comfortable in their sets.
This is Herbert. He's got to step on his man. Now sent behind. This is Cavanaugh. So comfortable working as that ex-attackman. Seen it all weekend long. He's got his man hung up, looking for a cutter here. Rolls far side. Good defense by Japan and a save by Oshima. Another thing to keep your eye on here is we're now under 10 minutes to go in the game. I think it's interesting to watch Nick Myers put some different pieces in different lines of midfielders and attackmen, just trying to figure out, all right, who feels comfortable working together? Who can we pair up maybe at some point throughout the World Championships and have it work? And I think you continue to see him trying different midfield lines together and different attackman combinations.
And you're looking at the lefties versus the righties and where you want to position guys on the field. Who can operate with some two-man presence? Who works well in pairs? Yeah, there's a lot of things to consider and not much time to see them in action. So, especially in a setting like this, you expect lots of different combinations of players as he tries to identify who exactly is going to be on the field in what capacity in Ireland.
This is Graham Bundy working out of the midfield. Dancing top the box. Takes back out to Grant Mitchell. We'll say the combination of having Cavanaugh, Tillman, and O'Neal all out there at attack has been interesting. We've seen both Tillman and Cavanaugh being able to take a man at X and work as a quarterbacking role. That's a dynamic attack line.
Yeah, and they've played almost the entirety of this game, so that I think that tells you a little bit of where the coaching staff is leaning in that attack group, wanting them to get some time together on the field.
Have a flag down on Japan, so man up coming for this U.S. offense.
We have a penalty on Team Japan number 10/1 minute.
Toru Morimatsu called for the slash, 1 minute penalty here for the U.S. under-19 team. Past the midway point of this fourth quarter. O'Neal, Grimes operating at the top. This is Slusher just inside the near side pipe. Alex Slusher's second of the day, the freshman at Princeton.
That's a Team USA goal by number 25, Alex Slusher, assisted by number 1,
Check out
Cole Herbert.
the look away feed by Cole Herbert. As Japan caught looking to the exterior, but he's got his man Slush inside for the first goal of the fourth quarter.
Timeout coming off of that goal. You mentioned Cole Herbert with the look. You also include the Mitchell twins, Jacob Snyder on defense. Great Calvert Hall connection in this team. You asked Nick Myers about all the Calvert Hall guys this week, and I thought his answer was interesting.
Yeah, he said it starts at the top with Coach Brian Kelly and the culture that he's instilled there. Also paid homage to the late, great Dave Huntley, who he developed a close relationship with. And there's a bit of a pipeline from Calvert Hall to Ohio State as well, so he obviously has great respect for the program. One of the interesting things is actually he spent time in the school. Nick Myers did. He had a visit, spent time in the school for the day, and said they just do things a little bit differently. They have a no phone policy, for example, and you know, that seems to be the type of thing that would resonate with someone like Nick Myers, and so the players that come out of the Calvert Hall program, he finds to be more mature and more college ready than some of the others, and of course that's a program with a great legacy on the field as it is, one of the top ranked in the country.
Yeah, it's no coincidence that he's gone there and gotten the Mitchell twins, who are both there at Ohio State, as well as Jacob Snyder, who we talked to after yesterday's game. All three of them freshmen for Nick Myers in Columbus. Jake Nasso back at the face-off X. Plays for St. Anthony's in New York. Gonna head to Virginia next year. What a stable of face-off men the Cavaliers have developed over the last couple of seasons.
And it's interesting at UVA, you know, you wouldn't have said that was a position of strength going into last season, but certainly played a huge role in their run to the championship last year. You say the same for both face-off and goalie there. So in addition to the embarrassment of riches they have at the skill positions, having those specialists to take care of the possessions played an integral role in that run to the title.
Love that play right there. Brendan O'Neill had his pass deflected. It was going to be a turnover, but instantly you saw how bad he wanted to get that ball back to make up for it. Helps pressure Japan and creates a turnover to get it right back.
It's been a theme for the entire game for the U.S. attack to be as much in attack mode defending the ball as they are attacking the goal.
Now Slusher working at X. Two-man game with Mitchell. Now back out to Brendan Grimes. Far side Herbert. Now Slusher again. Slusher dips and dunks his way to another goal. He's got a hat trick today.
That's a Team USA goal by number 25, Alex Slusher.
Some miscommunication here on the Japanese defense as Slusher has his defender hung up. He's looking feed, and instead takes it upon himself. Could have settled for a shot there, a low-angle shot right at GLE. Instead, takes a couple extra steps, increases his angle, has plenty of goal to shoot at, and has the nice lefty finish inside.
The old extra step to greatness for Alex Slusher. And man, it's going to be fun to see him possibly work with Michael Sowers this year at Princeton. Another offensive weapon for the Tigers, who look to get into postseason contention. O'Neill shot, tough angle with the right hand, backed up here by the U.S.
You'd love to see Princeton make a run. You know, you look back the last several years and the careers of Tom Schreiber and Michael Sowers there, and yet between them only one NCAA tournament game appearance. That was Schreiber's sophomore year. Sowers could really use a national platform, you know, in a postseason game to make his case. As many say, he's the best player in the country as it is. You'd like to see the team follow suit and have a successful season for his senior year.
Alex Slusher could be an important part of that. I think you saw it. That Denver team that won the national championship in 2015, I think, is such a perfect example. Connor Cannizzaro comes over from Maryland, was such an important part. Had more points than Westberg, I believe, but Berg's the one who goes on to win the Tewaaraton, taking a lot of pressure off of him by able to take advantage of all the attention that was on Westberg on that offense. Unsettled situation. What a finish! Backside, it's Graham Bundy Jr. with his first goal of the day.
Really punctuating here what has been just an incredibly impressive performance for Team USA.
Number 9, Grant Mitchell.
You see Grant Mitchell with the heads up, the ground ball. Scoops the ground ball and his heads up right away, looking for anyone. And it's Graham Bundy Jr. crashing the goal, making a 12-goal lead.
Connor Calderon out there for the face-off. Whistle goes against Japan to keep it with Team USA. I think this U.S. offense might be even more talented in the unsettled situation than they are in the settled 6-on-6. The schoolyard, backyard, just pick the ball up and toss it around has been really impressive. They've been sharp, picking up ground balls and then creating offense.
Yeah, not much of an opportunity to see too much of the 6-on-6 offense in the box today, and I think that was just part of the game plan. Put the ball down on the carpet, come up with it however you can, and then look for a teammate. And they've gotten some really high-quality looks out of that.
Now under 2 minutes to go. U.S. can hold on, just cap this one off if they'd like. You see Patrick Hackler out there. Yale freshman who's a short stick defensive midfielder getting an offensive run. Number 16 in white.
Yeah, and U.S. taking opportunities to see what they can do in stall mode.
Yeah.
As well. They've been all told to keep it in the box, and that's still plenty of room to work with. And Hackler, one of the best overall athletes on the team, you know, they're going to let him hang for a bit.
Japan able to get the ball back here with under a minute to go. Japan's going to come up short here today, but what an effort this weekend for this team that came all the way to San Antonio from Japan. Arrived here earlier this week and really performed well.
Certainly, folks back home for them in Japan, their supporters are going to be very impressed with what they did against the senior team yesterday. The highlights coming out of this weekend will be their own.
Wrapping far side with Suzuki. Back up goes the United States, and they can run the clock out. Two really good games for the U.S. under-19 team as they prepare for their trip to Ireland this summer. Your final score here against Japan, 14-2. The U.S. U19 squad going 2-0 on the weekend. We'll be back to recap more of this one